Hey, what's up? I guess I should do a little quick shout out to all these wonderful people who subscribed recently. Erdwex, New Bro Plus, Work E Man, Pierre Perdiendo Tiempo, Alf, Chaos Range, Victor Brenner, T-Man T-Rex, Jason Jeremy Gruzen, Sean Mahoney, Fire Phoenix Games, and Rebel Art, because you're awesome, and all that good stuff. And now I will show you what is up with this. So, I've been watching a lot of tutorials trying to figure out how to make, let me show you what it looks like first, how to make a widget, just like draggable, you know, move around the window and such. So, this is what it does. This is what the resulting action is. If this is what you're here for, you see I can click it anywhere except for a button. If I click the button, it doesn't do anything, but I can actually still use the buttons. Buttons still work, move this anywhere. So I'm going to do the same thing to this interface over here. As you see, it doesn't move. This one does move. So, it's because I've done it here. Now, the tutorials I've seen have done a lot of elaborate child blueprint inside of blueprint stuff, and I think that's just to make sort of a reusable format that you can use for any widget, but I think it's much neater to just do it. This is all of the coding involved, these two little windows here. So you got the event graph, has an event tick, checking a bool. So if the bool isn't set, then it's not going to do anything. If the bool is set, then we're going to use this node set position of the canvas slot. So in the designer, this whole thing here, is a canvas panel, movable window. I renamed it movable window, but it's just a canvas. Canvas. Where is that even? I haven't used those in a while. Primitive. Canvas panel. So that's what you fill your thing in with. You can anchor it. You can have things anchored within it. It's very handy and useful. So that's it. It's just, if I minimize this, it's just a canvas panel with all of its borders and spacers and buttons and all that jazz inside of it. So on the graph, I can get movable window. If I could spell, get movable window. That'll give me that. You drag out from it and slot as canvas slot, and now that gives you these functions such as alignment, anchors, layout, position, set position. So all this can be done straight on the blueprint itself. You don't need any fancy child blueprints casting to other blueprints and doing all this stuff. So then the position you want to get is your get owning player. That should be standard for you. And then from there you get the mouse position scaled by DPI. Or you could just do get mouse position, but I have a feeling this is going to help in the future. You can take one of these, any one of these, and just do make vector 2D, and then plug the other one in, and now you've got a blue guy here to structure, actually, technically. And what you're going to do is subtract, do some fancy math here. Normally, you could just put this right in here. You say, set the position to be where the mouse is. But then it'll do some weird stuff, because technically I have it anchored up here. And actually, I think no matter where you have it anchored, I've had it anchored here. Its origin is up here. So your mouse position is an XY coordinate of where the mouse is compared to this point up here. So you have to basically subtract the difference in a fun way. And that's where this stuff happens. If to get this graph here, go up to the functions and override. This is where you're going to want to do fun, good stuff here. On the mouse button down, technically, I've already done it, so it's basically mouse button down would be on the list here. It'll make a little graph up here, and you can go to it. It'll just have two purple guys here. For the return node, you're going to want to just plug in something called handled, I think, because it says whether the event was handled or not. So, yeah, just tell it was handled. Just take it out here too. Handled. Okay. Otherwise, all we're doing is setting that bool. Saying is, so you know, you're gonna have to add a couple variables here. You got to add your red variable and your blue variable, which is gonna be a boolean and a vector 2D. Vector 2D is just basically a struct. It's two vectors, to XY, sort of like in the material editor. So you're gonna do the same exact thing here. This is the same thing. Actually, subtracting. If I were to put everything on one graph, it would be this minus itself minus the position of this. So really it would be, it's to visualize it for you, it's this. You can get position here. It would be this. That's what these guys are. It's a minus. That's what's happening. Just vector 2D minus vector 2D. Technically, that's what I'm doing here. But since this is an event tick, it will constantly get the difference between it, and we don't need that. So instead of doing it here, I'm doing it on a variable that gets set only on mouse button down. It's like doing a do once. I don't have to have all the complicated gate opening and closing and all that. Just do it on mouse button down, and it happens one time. You set this variable of where the mouse position is relative to the thing. So it's get your owning player, get the mouse position, make vector 2D, hit the minus key, right? Just a hyphen. You get vector 2D minus vector 2D, and you plug in the top one to it, and then you get this again. Same thing, it's your slot from the designer. So just get movable window, drag out, slot as canvas slot, get position, plug it in there. And now this will be set one time like that. Return it, it's handled. The last thing you have to do is on mouse button up, tell it that the moving window, whatever your bool, is off. That way the event tick will tick through, see it's off, and stop operating. And that's it. So I'll do this real quick on another blueprint so you can see it. You can see me make it from scratch. So I'm going to do it on my appearance window. So let's go here on the graph. A bunch of stuff here, as you can see. So let's do events tick. I don't believe I've used it yet. Okay, event tick. Just get a bool. Is moving window. Get it. Do a branch. Okay. Here, designer, I've got this canvas panel. So let's just rename it. Movable window. Movable window is a variable, so that'll make it accessible. So I'm going to go to the graph here. Get movable window. Slot as canvas slot. God damn it. Set position. And so that's that part of it. Now the position will be, let's get owning player. Mouse DPI, get mouse position scale by DPI. And so we'll make a vector 2D out of this. Alright. And now I can show you what would happen if that's all we did. If that's it, I would have to just do the overrides real quick too. So override. Actually, let me not do it. Let me just do the whole thing, because that's stupid. It's distracting. Okay. So yeah, we'll have to do minus here. There's two subtractions happening. You're subtracting the difference of, and a difference is a subtraction. So here we're literally subtracting. Now on override function, you got mouse button down. So on mouse button down, we're going to take that bool moving window, we're going to set it to on. Might as well do that on mouse button up as well. Mouse button up, set moving window. Hey Gamer Flame, you inspired me to get back to streaming. I was actually going to do this as soon as I had something to show off. I think the problem is I start streaming when I have nothing to show off. I'm trying to figure stuff out, and it's not nearly as impressive. So, compile. Oh, this is that thing. It has to be handled. So, tell it to be handled. Let's go to the other one too. Mouse button down, tell it to be handled. Okay, you feel better. Alright, compiled. So, on mouse button down. See, I could show you what happens if you don't do this fancy part. Basically, this is the... Let's just do this. Let's do... Yeah, what would happen if you just set it to be the mouse position? Simple as that. Very straightforward. Yep, disappeared. Fucking disappeared. Just straight up disappeared. Well, we'll work around this. So, I don't think that's the result we wanted. See, anchor should be... Oh, it's over here right now. Let's just see what happens if I mess with it this way. Alright, on the mouse button down, is where we're going to want to have our second variable. So we're going to call it mouse location. It's a vector 2D. Just like these things. And we're going to put that pretty little 2D down here, and happy little deers. We're going to set it. Sorry, I'm trying to Bob Ross it. Do you want to make a deal? Uh-oh. What kind of deal? Okay. So this is going to be your get owning player. Mouse DPI. Set. No, make vector 2D. Okay. Minus. So you get movable window. Slot as canvas slot. You want a code for play or Xbox and change for Osiris New Dawn. What? I don't even know. So then we will get position. So you can only do this if you've done the slot as canvas slot of your canvas slot. And now we'll minus these two, subtract. This gets you the difference between two objects, so this is, I mean, that's basic math. It's right there. Let's do that. Alright, nice and clean. Now hopefully, I didn't forget to do something, or maybe that anchor might mess it up, because I don't know why that thing just straight up disappeared when I tested it the other way. Let's check it out. Where's that mirror? Okay, magic mirror. Okay. I think it is because of that anchor issue. So, let's try making the anchor up there. Oh, look at that. It kept the proportions. Let's try again. So now those numbers change because that's where it's actually, that's what the numbers are that we're affecting. Based on where the anchor is. Okay. Slightly better. It thinks it's here. No matter where I grab it. What? Do control, and then let's make it. Let's try that. So I did control and shift on the anchor button. Does all sorts of repositioning and adjusting. I do it for pretty much everything. To like snap it to the anchor basically, then adjust all. Okay, it's going straight to the corner. It's as if I didn't finish. I totally didn't finish plugging my shit in. That's right. That's right. So this is what happens if you don't do the subtraction. That's what's supposed to correctly happen. Now if we just plug our mouse location difference in there, we'll get the difference between. There we go. So it was actually totally on purpose what I just did. Change the game you have downloaded, that is Osiris, for a code for PlayStation, Xbox. Is it a deal? I don't think so. Sorry. Alright. Now we should have, yes, a window that correctly moves. I can go here, and I can be like Let's check out those hair colors. So I'm going to add it to this thing up here too to make that movable. So anyway, there you go. That's the idea. Let's see if I can add it to one more. How long have I been? 15 minutes. Let's close this one down and say that's a nice little brief tutorial on how to do something cool in Unreal Engine. So I'll show you one more time. Make sure it's a canvas slot. Here's your graphs. You get in the movable window canvas slot setting position on a branch based on a bool that is set on the mouse button down. And you're setting it to be the mouse position minus the difference of the mouse position and the canvas slot position. That's it. In that order. Alright. Peace.